This conference will now be recorded.
Right. So today we are discussing about the introduction of business analysis because today is the first session wherein we are discussing about what is business analysis. First of all, second, why business analyst required for any kind of organization, and what kind of skill set do we need to acquire. So these 3 points we focus today. If you understand from a broader context, business analysis is all about understanding the requirements and providing solution for any of the customer. If you take any organization, let's say, for example, I'll be opening a Word document. I'll explain you on that so that you'll be understood much better. So any organization across the world, you take any kind of organization, irrespective of the domain I'm talking about, whatever the solution they expects will be for two different reasons. One, either they wants to, any organization across world needs a solution for two different reasons. Two different reasons. Now, what is the first reason? The first reason is to enhance first enhance their organizational performance or increase their revenue life cycle. Right, so these are the two different reasons any organization you take. For example, let's say you're developing an payroll management for a company, right? You are developing a payroll management for any of the organization. Or else you may be developing an ERP application for a customer, right? For customer of any organization, if you take. This is for two reasons, any one reason in this or any two reasons. One, either if you want to increase or enhance the organizational performance, because if you want to structure your organization so that you can enhance it in a proper way, because business continuity and business agility is required. In order to increase the value of the business, whatever the enhancements we want to have in any of the organization, for that organizational performance is required. So payroll management we are using for what reason? This is the reason of managing your employees, isn't it? Right, so that is what the payroll management system is being used. So you take any application, because whatever the solution we are going to provide nowadays, everything is technical solution, right? So because if you want to manage your business nowadays, everything is technology. Of course, in our personal life, if you see, if you want to communicate with someone, either you're using mobiles or landlines, right? So we are sending emails. So everything is technology. So technology has become an integral part of everyone's life. So if you want to run any kind of organization, you take a bank, right? For example, if you want to run an organization, a bank and all that, so in order to run their transactions, what they required a core banking application which will be used for backend operations, right? To manage their backend operations, they use core banking. They may be required an online banking application to manage their online banking process. They may be required some other CRM application to manage their customer satisfaction, all that. So everything is technology, everything is solution, something connecting to the technology part. So enhancing organizational performance is what the one reason behind providing solution for any of the requirements. Second, increasing the revenue life cycle means due to different applications we are developing, there is a possibility that we can increase the revenue of the organization, right? Due to that reasons, we may be required. For example, I am developing an online banking application for one of my customer, where I am providing an opportunity there to pay bills online. So due to paying bills online through my app, I am getting some revenue. right? Customer is getting revenue. So indirectly, I'm helping my customer to enhance his revenue life cycle and all, increase the revenue life cycle. So any organization wants some sort of solution for whatever the kind of problem they're having for two different reasons. Either they wants to increase their organizational performance or increasing their revenue cycle. Now, why business analyst required for any organization? I'll take an example of a bank. Okay, assume that bank is using a core banking application for a long time. So what is core banking application? Core banking is an application which will be used for the backend operations. If you take a bank, whatever the backend operations happens in the bank, to manage all that, you require a core banking application. Now, bank is using this application for a long time. Assume that, right? I'm just giving an example to you. This they are using since last 10 years. Now, bank wants to enhance this application to the next level. Bank wants to enhance their application this to the next level. Means they have existing application at this point in time where bank wants to enhance their application to the next level because the kind of business volume bank has at this point in time. At the same time, the kind of services what bank is having may have increased, right? Because they may be increasing their service line sometimes. Volume of business have grown bigger. Hence, what require existing application may not be supportive. Hence, they wants this application to be upgraded to the next level, isn't it? Right? This was the problem. So anything you can take in your personal life, in our personal lives, we used to use QWERTY keypad earlier. Now we are using Android phones, iPhones. What reason? Because mobile is for the same reason. Mobile is for incoming calls and outgoing calls. But still, why are we opting to buy new mobiles and all everything all the time? Because our personal and professional experience is demanding to do that. Means lot of features, lot of options are available, which is something connecting to our personal and professional career in all the aspects. So any technology, whatever the technology we use, requires some upgradation from time to time. This is what any organization wants. As an example of a bank you take, bank wants this. Bank expecting someone to enhance their application to the next level. Understood? So this is what the requirement is. Now, if this is the case, where business analyst comes into picture? Why business analyst required? Right? This may be the question. I'll give you a best example to you. Assume that you are working for an organization, a bank, wherein you are using a core banking application for almost 10 years. Now you are finding difficulty in managing the application where you require some additional features and functionalities due to the changes happens in your business process, which is not there in the application. Now you wants to enhance this. You are user, you are trained here to use the application, not to repair, isn't it? Now what you want, you want some technical person who can understand your requirements and providing some sort of features and all everything in additional. This is what the context is. Now you tell me, can you expect a technical person can understand your requirements? May or may not. Why? Because they are technical people. They may be good in technology, but being you as an end user, you are from the functional background, right? You know how to use the application, what kind of problems you are facing, all that. So whatever the explanation are you going to provide, everything is from the functional side, not from the technical point of view. Hence, what require here, what we want here, we require an intermediary who understand the requirements and providing solutions. This is where the business analyst role comes into picture. Hence, business analyst is an individual or a group of people who will be considered as liaison between business and technical communities. Means if I am a business analyst, I'll be coming to your organization. If you are my client, I'm interacting with all the stakeholders who are using that application, either yourself or with others. I'll try to understand what kind of problem are you going to face and how the existing application is working, what are the features and functionalities and all that. So based on that, what is the best possible solution to be provided will be guided by me. why I am a business analyst, where I can understand about the domain, right? Because assume that I know about the banking sector for some time, right? I have some domain knowledge, functional knowledge, so that my understanding level will be very easy, isn't it? Right? So
True.
any organization requires an individual or a group of people whom we call it as business analyst. So that business analyst job is to understand the requirements of the customer, providing solutions accordingly. Is it clear
Got it.
to you?
Yeah.
Right? So this is what generally the importance of BA is. Means any organization you take, because nowadays if you see, any big organizations will have their own IT department. Nowadays if you take any XYZ bank will have an IT division, right? IT division. That IT department job is to manage the internal applications of the existing company, right? They have their own applications, they'll manage that. And if they want some sort of solution to be provided, their team is providing all that. But there also they require a business analyst. So business analyst is the person who will be speaking to the stakeholders, trying to understand the kind of problem they are facing, providing solutions accordingly. This is what generally the role of a business analyst in any of the organization, irrespective of technology and domain we are from. Now,
Good.
you could ask me next thing, Raj, what kind of skill set do I need to acquire? Because people come from different sectors, right? The beauty and as well as advantage in business analysis is this is the one career which will be useful, highly useful for the people who are opting for career transformation, This is the best career. Means I'm talking about business analyst, because business analyst majorly focusing on understanding of requirements, providing solutions to the customer, all that. This is not something deeply connecting with technology. If you have technical knowledge, of course, it's an additional advantage for sure. But it is nothing to connect with technical in depth. It's more about understanding the problem and providing solutions. Any other profiles, whichever you see, all the profiles will have this experience, right? So understanding one's requirement, maybe they may be coming from a different domains and all, but understanding their requirements of someone's and providing what is the best option and all everything, this experience will be there in non-IT as well for anyone, irrespective of the role they play, right? Maybe some people may play an active role, some people may play a passive role in that. So for career transformation, business analyst is one of the career, especially in IT, which will give us advantage and as well as mileage. Now, here is the question. Again, coming back to our question, what kind of skill set do we need to acquire, right? What is the skill set we want us to update?
Before getting into that point,
Yes.
generally, like business analyst, he understands the users' problems and try to upgrade their systems to make it an
Yes.
improvised systems, right? But
Yes.
until and unless he coordinates with the technical people, he will not be able to give a solution or a kind of improvise their system, because their systems might be a different aspect, and
Right.
the technical capability to build the system would be into a different aspect, right? How without knowing that, what kind of solutions and suggestions that he can give it to the people.
Right. The reason why we are talking about craft skills now, that is what we are about to talk. That is what we are about to speak.
Okay.
Now, right? What you're going to discuss now is this, because this is where the problem comes from everyone. Because you raised a valid point. Appreciate that. Because if I'm being a business analyst, assume that you are using some banking core banking application, some product you're using, right? I am not a technical person at all, right? I am a business analyst. And that too, you are also not a technical guy, but you know how to use the application because you are trained for that. Now, if I am not a technical person, how come I understand the technical aspects? Means what kind of software they have used, what kind of database they used earlier, right? Is that sufficient for us to add some new features and functionalities into that or not? Or do we require to upgrade the technology to the next level. So this kind of understanding I may or may not be, isn't it, right? That is what the question raised by you. The reason why we are talking about the craft skills, that is what craft skills tell. Because most of the people, because some people come from IT knowledge, right? So we don't need to explain them about the technical part, but they require functional skills. Some people come from a functional background, vice versa. These people may not have technical knowledge. So what kind of skill set is required for a BA is what the question here. So that is what we call it as craft skills are. What is meant by craft skills? Craft skills nothing but C stands for communication skills. What is communication? First thing, communication nothing but, as you know, it's a verbal communication. It's a generalized point wherein we understand, right? C stands for communication skills. Communication skills is all something relating to verbal part. Now, communication is not only a verbal communication, but you must be having some written communication skills as well. Why? Because all the time you cannot speak to the people. Sometimes there is a possibility that you have to prepare some documentation, all that. Hence, what is needed? You need to have some written communication apart from verbal communication as well. Now, apart from written communication, what else you required? You need to have some good listening skills. Assume that you may be good at communication, right? A verbal and all that. But you cannot expect the same from the client, right? Client may not be as communicative as you are. So you need to have some good listening skills here. This is what something essential and important. So communication is not only a verbal communication, but it must be a written communication followed by listening skills as well. Understood? Clear? Right? Listening skills as well. This is what generally communication skills stands for. After communication skills, the next we call it as RA. You could see there, RA. RA stands for requirement analysis.
Requirement analysis.
What is requirement analysis? Understanding the requirements. Means understanding one's requirement is what we call it as RA stands for. Means what are the different, for example, you are the end user, you are using core banking application for a long time. Now you want that application to be upgraded to the next level. Being a business analyst, when I'm coming there, I'll be speaking to different people, right? I'm not only speaking to you, right? I'll be speaking to different people there who are involving on using that application. I'll be speaking to everyone, isn't it? Right? But the kind of expectation in reference to the output is concerned varying from one to another. The kind of expectation relating to the project output of yours, what you're expecting, is entirely different from others.
Hello?
Right or not? Right?
I lost your voice.
Whatever the whatever the expectation you have, whatever the expectation you have is entirely different from others. Do you agree that?
Yeah.
You may be having expectation in one context, maybe other may having expectation in another level. Do you agree that?
Definitely. Yes.
Right or not?
Yes, right.
So this is
Absolutely correct.
so requirements, expectation, and all everything will be varying from one to another, right? Because you are using application, the kind of perception what you have is different, and what I may be having is different, right? My expectation levels were different, your expectation levels will be different. So whoever using depends on the kind of roles and responsibilities what they were rendering, their expectation levels will be changing from one to another. This is what we call it as requirement analysis. Means if you are a business owner, your expectation level is different. If you are an employee working on the application, your expectation level will be of different mode. So this is what we call it as requirement analysis stands for. Now, after requirement analysis, F stands for functional skills. What is meant by functional skills? Functional skills nothing but knowing about the functionalities of the project. What is meant by functionality? If I am going to understand, if I am trying to understand about core banking, what is required first for me? What is that I needed? What is that I needed? I should understand how banking functionality works, right? How bank works. At the
How
same
that
time,
systems works.
right? How systems works, right? How core banking is going to be useful. In what way? What features and functionalities will it be there? All these things we need to understand. Understood, right? This is what we call it as functional skills. Understand, right? This is what we call it as functional skills. Means knowing about the functionality is what we call it as functional skills stands for. Right? Knowing about the functionality means what are the different functionalities do we have. So that understanding being a BA you need to have. Then it will be easy for you to understand the requirements clear. Next, T stands for technical skills. This is where you have question, right? So this is where the question, some answer is something relevant to you, to your question.
Yes.
Means technical skills need not be expertise in developing programming or testing all the time, because maybe if you have experience then it's fine, nobody will object you, right? If you have having an experience from the programming or testing, obviously it's an advantage for you, but it
Some
is
sort of
not
interlink between both functional and technical.
absolutely, because you need to know about how systems functions, how systems works, how technology is transforming from one extent to another extent. What is the process of software development life cycle? Because if you're developing an application, what are the stages are there in SDLC? When we are going to use the models and all that, how are these models will be useful to you, right? So there may be different models like waterfall model, V model, incremental, agile, all that. So that observation is something required and essential for you being a business analyst. So this is where technical skills comes into picture. So knowing about the technology, exposure towards the technology is essential and important for any BA to perform with. Now, remember one thing, as being a business analyst, initially, whatever the solution are you going to provide will be a business solution, not technical solution. I'll give you a best example to you. There is a point of sale system. What is POS system? POS system is an application which is used for billing in any of the organization, right? Right? POS is a system which is being used
for any sales based
for
company.
billing, right? For billing, right? So because whatever the billing they do and all everything is called as POS. Now, this POS system, a retail store is using for a long time. Now they wants to upgrade. They wants to upgrade to the next level. Means, assume that you are a business owner, right? You have different stores. You have multiple stores across different locations. Now, due to this application is a standalone application, if there is any problem arises, some technician should come and repair that. So till that time, whatever the billing process happens and all, you have to transform to the other system. Hence, what is happening? There will be more pressure on the single systems, right? So your billing will be delayed due to this reason, because due to the infrastructure is also old. Hence, in spite of taking 5 minutes, it is taking 10-15 minutes time for the billing. Hence, what will happen? Due to that reason, customer is standing on queues for a long time. This is one problem. Second, you are a owner, business owner, you have multiple stores where you want to see reports online. All the sales reports, inventory management reports, all that you want to see online where you are. But you are unable to see this, right? You have to depend on someone to provide this, which is taking so much of time. And there is a possibility in terms of the accuracy, right? Some sort of accuracy issues will also be there. So these are the two major problems being a user you are facing. Being a user, you are facing these two problems. Now, you want to have a solution for this. For this reason, you came to us and you have approached us. Now, I understood your problem, and I finally came to a reason that I come to a conclusion that developing an cloud-based application will be the right choice. Why? Because if it's a cloud-based application, you don't require any kind of infrastructure to manage. What are all you require is only a laptop or a desktop with an internet connection. That itself is sufficient. You don't require anything apart. Do you agree that? Right?
Yeah.
You require that. Now, After that, what else is required? You require a cloud-based application. It's a cloud environment application. Due to this cloud environment application, wherein what you finally require is a system, a desktop or a laptop with an internet connection is sufficient. Rest everything can be done by you, right? You don't find any difficulty in doing it. Agree or not, right?
Right.
One point. Second, due to this cloud-based application, whatever the data, either it may be sales or inventory, everything will be uploaded on cloud. So being a business owner, you can track and you can download reports wherever you are. This is also another advantage, right? So
True.
by keeping all this in mind, what I did, finally I have given a conclusion to you that developing cloud-based point of sale system would be the right choice. Understood? Clear? Right?
Yeah.
Now, remember, this is what we call it as business solution. Whatever I mentioned to you is called as business solutions. Right? So this is what business. Remember, this is not a technical solution. This is what we call it as business solution. Means I'm providing a business solution for you. I am not providing any kind of technical solution. Whatever I am providing you is called as business solution. I am not providing you any technical solutions. Right? This is what we call it as business solution stands for. Understand? Clear?
Got you. Yeah.
Very clear or not?
I'm able to. Are you able to hear me, Raj? Or no?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I'm able to, but I feel like there is a delay in voice reaching out to you.
Sorry?
I observe there is a slight delay of my voice reaching out to you. It's latency in the voice.
It's all clear. It is all clear. You're able to view, understand, you're able to listen my voice properly, right? So you don't see any problem.
I don't see any problem from your side.
Okay, right. Okay, so remember, this is what we call it as technical solution, business solution. Whatever I explained you so far is called as a business solution. So I have given an opportunity to you. I have given an option called developing cloud-based point of sale system is what we call it as business solution is. Understand? Clear? Very clear or not?
Yes.
Right? This is what we call it as business
solutions.
Now, technical solution. What is technical solution? What kind of software do we require to use? What kind of operating system we require? What technology is needed? This is what we call it as technical solution. Understood, right? Technical solution.
Yes.
Now, who will be providing this technical solution? This technical solution will be provided by the technical team. So what kind of technology is compatible here? Is this old technologies compatible? Or do we require to add some new technologies and all everything into the existing ones? This has to be decided. Who will be deciding this? Technical team will decide all this. Agree, right?
Agree.
Agree or not? So what do we require here? What do we require here? We require some.
Raj, I lost your voice. Hello?
Yes.
I lost your voice.
Yeah. Is it audible to you now?
Yeah.
Is it audible to you now?
Yeah, now I'm able to hear you. Yeah.
Right. So now what I require, I want some technical solution should be provided by someone, right? Some sort of technology has to be given. So some sort of technical solution is what is required. Understood? Clear? Do you agree? Right?
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
some sort of technical solution should be given by someone. This is where interaction with the technical people is what something mandatory for any BA. Understood? So whatever the solution called cloud-based point of sale system you have given is what we call it as business solution. But If you want to implement this, you have to make sure what technology to be used, right? What kind of operating system we want to use. All these we want to see. This is what we call it as technical
Skills.
solution. Understood, right?
Okay.
Understood or not, right?
Yes, yes.
So this is where generally technical people's assistance is required. So
Okay.
technical knowledge will be helpful if you have. It is not mandatory, but in future, for sure, what I can assess is that technical knowledge will become mandatory in future. I don't say now immediately, but in future, for sure, technical knowledge, acquiring technical knowledge will become mandatory in future. May not be now, but in future, for sure, it will happen. Understand? Clear?
Okay.
Are you clear or not, Pawan?
Yes, Raj.
Right? So this is what generally the craft skills stands for. One is communication skills required. Second, you need to have requirement analysis, means understanding about the requirements and all that stuff is needed for you. Next, knowing about the functionalities, followed by technical skills. This is what we call it as craft skills transfer. Any person
Okay.
who wants to transform their career into BA require these kind of skill set for sure. Communication skills anyway we have, so
Common
that's a
factor.
common thing. That's an underlying competency. Anyway knows that.
Mm-hmm.
Understanding about requirement analysis means how to understand the requirements and all everything. That is possible through interaction as well as working on some case study. You'll be knowing few things, right? You'll get some exposure out of it.
Yes.
Next, knowing about the functional skills. You could ask me one thing, Raj, how can I acquire functional knowledge? Because I'm not from a functional domain. Assume that I am not from any of the functional domain. How can I acquire knowledge? This is where what generally we do in training, we'll give some case study to the students and we'll ask people to work on that. Right? We'll ask people to work on those case studies and all everything so that it will be helpful for them to uh, understand the exposure towards the
Understand the
domain. I don't
exposure.
say that experience in domain, because experience in domain is not something it's not something possible, because it's not, say, experience on one domain is a continuous process, right? So because there is no stoppage for that. So exposure towards the domain is something required for you, right? What kind of exposure do we want and all everything is something required. So that domain knowledge and all everything, for that what we are doing is we are working on the case study so that you will be understood that well.
Got
Next,
you.
followed by the functional knowledge, technical skills. Technical skills means knowing about the process of application development. So you are developing an application for one of your customer. What kind of model we want to use? Is it something waterfall is suitable? Is it something agile is suitable? So that knowledge is required. I don't say experience, because experience obviously it carries you along, but exposure towards that is also required. So that's part of the course. Means knowing about the process of SDLC, stages of SDLC, what are the different models do we have, right? What is user stories, how to write user stories, how to write BRDs, SRS, all these will be a part of it. This is all something comes under the practicals of it. I can say 70-30. 70 will be theory, 30% will be practicals, because 70% theory means case wise example will be taken and explanation will be given. So that's how you can acquire some knowledge out of it. Apart from that, practical experience also. Practical experience means how to write BRDs, how to write SRS, how to write user stories is what something essential and important for you to perform
Okay.
with.
Okay.
Is it clear, Pavan?
Yes. Yes.
So this is what the introduction about BA, why business analyst required. So what kind of skill set do we need to acquire? Now, if you have any queries in reference to this, please go ahead.
Okay. So specifically in terms of both functional and requirement analysis and technical. So is this mandatory for an analyst guy to understand prerequisite? Do he have anything specific prerequisite he has to know? Let's say, example, the banking application that you said, right? He might have a domain knowledge of it. That's a different thing. Without that, he would not be able to definitely understand and then he is right fit to sit into that role. Having said that, he has a domain experience. It doesn't mean that he should be able to understand the whole solutions or anything, right? So business solutions is different aspect that you're telling, and requirement analysis is a different aspect that you're telling. Until and unless he understands about the requirement business problems, he will not be able to come to a conclusion what kind of solution he comes. To give that solution, I already asked you the same question. To give that solution, until and unless he discuss with the technical team, he will not be able to give a solution. So my question here is that mandatory that he should discuss with both the end user and his technical team and find out a solution, whether he is going to migrate or improvise the client's existing skill, or he himself has to know the technical capabilities and give them a solution? What sort of major role plays in between two different teams?
Is it over? Question over?
Yes.
Okay. So the answer is as follows. See, business analyst is the person who will be gathering the requirements in the beginning. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he is going to provide the business solution, he may not be required technical people's assistance all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Basic understanding about how system is functioning, not from the technical perspective, from the functional perspective I'm talking about, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that understanding, being a business analyst, you must be having initially.
Mm-hmm.
Point number two,
Mm-hmm.
whatever the business solution you have proposed, underline this point. I mentioned it as proposed, not finalized, right? I may be giving
Okay.
2-3 solutions,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Out of the best, in terms of the technical implementation is concerned, will be discussed with the technical team. So whatever the
Mm-hmm.
finalization we had, being a business analyst, are we going to finalize? I'm not saying proposed, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Proposing is different, finalizing is different. So
Mm-hmm.
I may be assume that I'm proposing a solution called cloud-based POS system, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That may be practically possible or may not. So who will be
Mm-hmm.
deciding that? It's a collective responsibility of taking decision along with technical team as well. So with the consent of technical team, business analysts work all the times.
Okay. Okay.
It's not
So it's
business analyst alone all the time.
so he has to sync with both the people, whether
Absolutely. Absolutely.
their existing
Yes.
system works for the migration, or it has to be built from the scratch, or not. Everything has
Because
to be
see, in
collaboratively
one day
worked
we
out.
don't see, this is a continuous process. It's not a one day activity, right? It's not a 1 day or 10 days activity. See, first initially customer has to, first what customer tell us, customer don't tell us the requirements. Customer tell us that this is what the problem I'm facing, right? So whenever customers say what I have to say, what I have to do being a BA, I have to make sure whether customer is saying right or not. Is he saying the right thing or not? Means the one, what is he facing, right? Is what is he delivering or not? That I have to make sure, isn't it? Do you agree or not? Right? So first I
Yes.
have to make sure that. Then if I make sure, first of all, what should I do? Then if it is right, so why is he saying that? Why are they saying? Right? So initial information I'll be taking from them. Again, what I do, I'll speak to the technical people initially. Boss, this is what the application they have. This is how those functionalities and all everything are there. This is what they're expecting. Can we do it? Is it possible for us to do or not? If there is a possibility, what kind of possibilities we have? Do you have any questions to ask? Or else we'll conduct a virtual meeting where technical people, business analysts, as well as the stakeholders will be there. We interact among groups and we'll come to a conclusion after some time, not immediately. Because this is not a stepwise activity, right? So because take right from the inception level to conclusion of solution. I'm not talking about the implementation different aspect again. So before coming to an implementation, whatever the conclusion we want to come, so that takes long time. It's a long journey, right? It's not a journey for 1 week or 10 days, right? It may be taking 2 months also sometimes, right? Because customer is saying something, we were taking it and we were understanding. First of all, we try to understand that. Again, that will be speaking to the technical people. We'll speak to the technical people. Again, technical people have some queries again. So we'll take this to the customer. If possible, sometimes we try to connect everyone and we'll speak. We'll gather something. We'll make a note of it. Again, we will be discussing. So it's a continuous activity. So being a business analyst, even though our role is so important, it doesn't mean that we only do everything. Even
So
though we are a team,
combination
we
of
don't do
people.
anything. Absolutely, because technical people also required. Because I may be from a functional guy, I may be knowing about the banking domain as a whole. Assume that, right? I'm very good at core banking and all that. I know about the core banking functionality. I understood, but it doesn't mean I am the one who is going to provide the final conclusion. Because practical possibility I have to see, because solution I have given, but that has to be implemented, right? If I have to implement, what technology to be used? Is this the same technology which customer is having? Assume that customer is technology whatever he is using is the old one. Now developing new features and functionalities onto that is something difficult. Now you have to upgrade the technology to the next level. Is it possible? For that cost requires. That cost requires some budget to be allocated. Next, to use it, customer has to change his infrastructure. For that, there is a budget which is required. Is it ready? Customer is ready for that? What kind of tools do you use? Are we going to use any open source tools? Because we can't use free tools, right? Free tools cannot be, because licensed versions can also be used, right? Only because licensed versions will have full
More
features, all that.
securities,
More
more
security, full
security and
features.
features and
Because trial versions don't have that, right? So license, what is the license cost then? Who will bear the license cost? Normally customers will buy the licenses, right? The reason why are we transforming cloud? Because of due to this reason. Earlier, if you see, if you want to develop a application, there are lot of permissions, lot of licenses to be taken. Lot of licenses, right? You need to buy Java software, you have to buy third-party applications, you have to buy database from different people, you have to buy operating system from others. And how many systems are we using? Those many licenses you have to buy, which is expensive thing earlier in the beginning days, I'm saying. But nowadays, the process has simplified.
changed.
If you have taken, for example, you take Salesforce, right? I'm just giving you an example to you. If you take Salesforce, Salesforce is a CRM application. Whoever wants to manage their customer CRM and all, if they can opt, say Salesforce is sufficient, because everything is inbuilt in Salesforce. What you need require is you require login credentials. That's it. Everything will be there. And that too, that Salesforce is a cloud application. You don't require to install. You don't require to install. What you want simply a cloud
System and
software.
internet.
Absolutely, that's it. So why this transformation is happening is because of that reason. Because it's not only a development. End of the day, customer has to use it. Now let us go back to the first case. You have managed all the infrastructure, you have developed it. End of the day, if customer wants to use it for long run, what they require? They want this infrastructure should be there in their client, in their environment, right? So for that, there is a cost which is involved again, isn't it? Right? For the new technology, again, we have to provide training for them. This is all expensive. This is all something challenging in long run to manage. Understand, right?
Yeah.
So these are the practical difficulties. This is what we call it as feasibility study. This is what we call it as feasibility. This feasibility of different types, I'll tell you later. Technical feasibility, operational feasibility, regulatory feasibilities, economic feasibility, financial feasibility, I mean to say. A lot of feasibility studies to be done. So it's a continuous process where we have to work on this. Understood? Clear?
Got you. Yeah.
So even though business analyst is the person who will be an interface in the beginning days doesn't mean that he'll be taking whole the responsibility. Unless he's not interacting with other people, he can't come to the conclusion. For that, at least some sort of technical knowledge is required. It's an advantage to them. The reason why I mentioned about technical skills, the reason is this. At least to that extent possible where he can understand what they're trying to say sometimes. If I'm speaking to the system administrator there, assume that in the client location. If they're saying about the technology, at least I can understand. Because knowing about the technical skills is not a one-day job, right? So there are a lot of technologies were there. So knowing about all these, getting expertise in all the areas and all everything is not practically possible. Everybody knows that. So some sort of experience and some sort of knowledge is something essential and important for us. This is what we must be knowing. Understand? Clear? Are you clear or not? Are you clear, Pavan? Pavan, are you there? Pavan, am I audible? Pavan, Pavan, am I audible? Pavan, am I audible? Pavan, Pavan, am I audible? I'm audible, right? Can you speak once? Pavan, Pavan.
హలో
Pavan.
ఇప్పుడు వినిపిస్తున్నాను.
Yes, yes, yes. I could hear you.
సడన్ గా ఇట్ గాట్ ఆఫ్ సడన్లీ.
It's okay, no problem. So this is what is required. So it's not the responsible, even though it's a responsibility of a business analyst, with the consent of technical team, he do all that. This is where technology comes into picture. This is where technical skills are becoming mandatory nowadays. Do you understand my point?
Yes, yes.
So this is all about the introduction of business analysis, followed by the role of business analyst, and what kind of
Okay.
skill set do they need to acquire. This is all about introduction of BA. Is it clear?
Okay. Yeah.
So tomorrow I'm going to discuss about the roles and responsibility of a BA. What kind of roles and responsibilities being a business analyst we must be good with. What kind of roles, what kind of responsibilities do we want? All that we are going to discuss in tomorrow's session.
Sure. Yeah. Done.
Right, Pavan? We'll meet again on tomorrow.
Sure, Anish. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.